Hi and welcome to the Running Shoe Geek channel. I'm Dylan and today I'm talking about the new Adidas Adizero Boston 10. As many of you will know, this season's Boston has undergone quite noticeable changes from past models. Previous season Bostons seem to have stuck to a tried and trusted recipe that only really receives subtle updates model per model, while this season's model has been practically reimagined and has been up-spec'd to include some cool features while also being slightly repurposed for the runner. So what's new on the Boston 10? Quite a lot. Firstly, in terms of cushioning, there's more stack underfoot, and the cushioning is comprised of a new foam. There's no more boost cushioning, but there is Lightstrike, which is a firmer compound, and on top of Lightstrike they've added the new compound Lightstrike Pro, which is the top of the range soft energy returning compound that Adidas use. So the underfoot experience of the new Boston 10 is quite different. The next key change is the inclusion of these claw-like features inside the shoe's midsole. These are known as energy rods, which act similarly to a carbon fiber plate, except there are 5 of them, which each follow the anatomy of your toes. Part of this feature's purpose is to stiffen up the forefoot of the shoe. So this season's Boston is more rigid than previous seasons. You'll also notice on the new Boston that there's this curved geometry at the forefoot, and this is known as a rocker, which is currently on trend in running footwear. Now this feature allows you to fall forward in a continuous and perpetual way. And then we've got a completely new upper, one that is elasticized to allow a lazy runner to simply slip their foot in and out of the shoe without playing too much with the lacing. But I wouldn't recommend this. In terms of width, the shoe is fairly accommodating. As a narrow foot, I have to give the lacing a bit of tension to get the perfect lockdown, but this will also mean that slightly broader feet will fit nicely in the new Boston. So what do these changes mean for you, the runner? Well, I must admit, I really like the Boston 10s, but for very different reasons why I enjoyed previous iterations. Previous Bostons were just about cushioned enough to allow you to take the shoe the distance, while still being very responsive so you could use it as a shorter distance racing shoe. The shoe was very versatile and has probably the best in-class durability. The models were so bulletproof that in fact they changed very little model per model, and for that they gained a very loyal following. The problem with previous season Bostons from an Adidas perspective was that the shoe sort of stagnated. Boost cushioning was introduced in 2013, and there was no new technological advancement about the Boston ever since it was first introduced. Plus, the shoe is not the most commercial offering. It's got a niche following worn mostly by seasoned runners. This new model may not be as versatile as before, nor being a shoe I would race in, but it has honed in as a speedy, well-cushioned shoe that I love doing my easy runs in, my up-tempo runs in, and my long runs in. The shoe is, on paper, a more commercial offering for a wider array of runners who want a 2-in-1 shoe that doubles up as their marathon racer and everyday training shoe. But it will upset some Boston loyalists who have enjoyed the winning formula Adidas have stuck with over the years. I must admit, this new version is my favorite Boston yet, but I use it quite differently than how I've used previous iterations. As I mentioned, this is my easy up-tempo and long-run shoe, but it's not my race day or speed workout shoe. If you're disappointed in the updates, the good news is that the Adizero Adios is more similar to the previous Boston, so you could give that shoe a go. Personally, I haven't been the biggest fan of Lightstrike, as I just find it a bit dull underfoot, but couple it with Lightstrike Pro and we've got the perfect balance of a responsive yet cushioned ride. If you know me, you'll know that I don't like a soft, squishy shoe. And again, right here, we've got a well-balanced, cushioned yet responsive shoe. You'll notice that this model's price tag is about $35 more expensive. And this is the result of the shoe being up-spec'd, but also containing more sustainable and recyclable materials. In summary, this is one of my favorite shoes in the market at the moment that on the right foot can serve up as a dual marathon and training day shoe for a non-elite runner, of course. It's a bold update to a formula that, although has been very successful, hasn't seen much change. So not all Boston loyalists are going to like the change, but what it will do is it will allow more runners to move into this trusted trainer. Aesthetically, it's a great looking shoe that actually incorporates some retro suede elements on the shoe, to remind runners of Adidas's vintage heritage in running. While the overall shoe stays up to date with contemporary trends, which include a rocketed geometry on the shoe, an increased stack height, and overall a more responsive ride underfoot. Thanks for watching this week's review. Tune in next week for another shoe review. Until then, happy running. Cheers.